because Nancy cannot hear us, to start us off with a word of prayer. It's good to be thankful for this day. It's a bright day that we've had, and it's a privilege to be alive. So between Alice and Edith, one of you could volunteer to lead us in a word of prayer.
Okay, let's pray. Our dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this wonderful morning. We come before your presence with thanksgiving in our hearts, oh God. We thank you, Lord, for the session that we are about to begin. Thank you for being with us yesterday, the things that we learned. We pray that may those things be of beneficial to us as an organization in our different places of work, oh God. We thank you even for the facilitator for today. We pray that you may continue to to impact them, oh God, with what they need to share with us, oh Lord, that you may guide them in all that they do. As the rest of us come in from different areas, oh Lord, we pray that you may be with us. So Lord, we pray that you may receive all the glory and all the honor. At the end of the whole 3 days, we will worship and bless you for seeing us through. We thank you in Jesus' name. We pray and we believe. Amen.
Amen. So thank you very much, Edith, for that powerful prayer. It's a very wonderful way to start. And we will start with the introduction. I want to introduce myself. Looking at your names, Alice, we've not met. Edith, we've not met, and also Nancy, if she can still hear us. And just a brief, as Dan has said, my name is Rhoda Wairioko. I'm a HR practitioner, and as he has stated, CHRPK, and have a couple of years of experience and also in training. And I'm really excited to meet this new team today. I know Catherine took you through yesterday about collaborative leadership, and I was in the physical class today. We are alternating like that. So for today and tomorrow, I'll be your facilitator for this webinar. And for me to facilitate, we'll need to share a lot of experience, because I believe all of us has a background in HR. If we are to put our wealth of experience for the many, many years that we have, and also combine all the training and the knowledge that we have, we'll have a very good facilitation so that we can learn from each other. Facilitation is about learning good experiences and exposures and experiences all the way that we have moved. So Rhoda is a wife, she's a mother, she's a parent, and she's a sibling to 7 other. She has 7 other siblings. So with those, I would want maybe to give each and every one of us who is present to just give us a brief introduction of who they are, what industry they're coming from, and maybe their expectation in this topic that you're going to look at. It is quite closely related to what we learned yesterday, that was collaborative leadership, because we want to learn how to build influence. And building influence is how are we able to influence others so that we can be able to also build that collaborative management. So let's give it a go. Anyone can start. Tell us your name and the industry you're coming from, or what you're doing with yourself, and what is your expectation by the end of this session. Anyone can go first.
Can I start? My name is Alice Mayaka. I am a human resource development professional, retired public servant, working now in a commission for intergovernmental relations technical committee, where we deal with the keeping harmonious relations between the national government and the county governments. Great. I enjoyed the training yesterday, and I'm looking forward to enjoying today. Forgive me if I disappear. The technology is not very much. I've not really updated my technology very much, but enough to survive. Yeah. I am you said you are a mother. I'm a mother of 3 grown men and a grandmother of 2 upcoming grandsons, and a sibling of 10. And I enjoy these programs, and I believe in lifelong learning. Yeah. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much. That's very encouraging, Alice. And I can see we'll be borrowing a lot from you. There's a lot we learn from you. And thank you very much. We hope to keep this lively and also very informative. Thank you. Edith, you could go next.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Edith Muando. I work for an organization called Feed the Children. It's an NGO. We have different programs that run within the country in different offices, where our main aim is looking at ensuring that no child goes to bed hungry. So we work with the communities, we work with the schools to ensure that that is achieved in different ways. So I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to today's training. I enjoyed yesterday's training. It was a good refresher course. So today I'm looking forward to learning more. I'm also a mother of 2 girls, and yeah, so looking forward. Thank you.
Great, that's very good work you're doing out there, Edith. You're really impacting on people's and children's life. That's very nice. Nancy, are you there? Nancy got tired of waiting for us. We hope she'll come back. We could go to Kendi.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Kendi Muando. I work with the county government of Meru. That's county 012. I am the senior administrator in the Department of Education and Technology. I'm looking forward to learning more so that I can impact my county. I am a wife, a mother of 2 handsome boys, and many others coming. I'm looking forward to more interactive session. Yesterday was great. I hope today will be better.
Great. Very happy to hear from you, from the county government. You have a lot of stakeholders to actually influence and also collaborate with. So we'll continue from there and feel very much welcome.
Thank you.
You joined us late. We had just done the introduction and we are still continuing to do the introduction. So the people who are continuing to join us, I can see Lillian, I can see Margaret. We're just doing a formal introduction to understand who we are, where we're coming from, and maybe the expectations in this forum. So Lillian, you can go in next.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. My name is Lillian Morioki. Edith is my colleague to feed the children. I think she has given...
Morim, I was wondering,
yes,
when one is introducing themselves,
yes,
I wish they can put on their video. We are not many.
They can, so that we can see their faces.
You cannot show your distance online.
Lillian, please do. Just for the introduction. I know there are challenges with learning and learning from home. Or if you're not comfortable, we're still okay. We don't force it. Great, Lillian.
Okay, thanks. I was saying my name is Lillian Morioki, working at Feed the Children. Edith is my colleague. I feel that she has given more about our organization. And looking forward to today's topic. Yesterday was a good one, so I'm hoping for an even better session today. Thank you.
Great. Welcome to the forum. Nancy, is Nancy back? Nancy, not yet back. Margaret, you can go next. Margaret, good morning. Margaret, are you there?
Yes, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning.
Okay, my name is Margaret Macharia. I'm mother of 3, 2 girls and 1 boy, and I work with Mwalimu Sako. Actually, our host is very familiar to me. Yesterday was very nice, so I'm expecting to learn more from you, Madam Rhoda, today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and welcome. Margaret is my colleague, as she can say, and we work together, and I'm really happy to have her on board. But Margaret, today I'm your trainer and your facilitator, so let's keep it that way. Let's learn from each other. There's a lot we can learn from each other. So thank you very much, and I think we are done with the list. Nancy, then we could request if you could call Nancy. Probably she was frustrated being the first one to log in, then she can join us.
I have.
You have?
Yeah, but she's not picking.
Okay.
I'll continue doing that.
Okay.
But proceed.
Great. So thank you very much, and I'm happy. Margaret, have you been enabled now? I can see something on the chat. She had requested to be enabled. You are now
yes,
enabled.
Yeah.
Great. So we'll just pick from where we stopped yesterday, and maybe just we can have two people just to give us a short recap of what we learned from collaborative leadership. We also had a very awesome session here at Lake Naivasha Resort. I had the physical class where we have about 35 team members, and it was a very lively, engaging. They learned the same things that you learned. So maybe two volunteers to just give us a short recap of what you learned. And when you're speaking to us, kindly put on the video and mute, and we keep it short so that we continue with the rest of the program. Anyone? Just a recap. What was your take home by the end of the day?
Yeah. Let me put on my screen.
That is, yeah.
I learned about the collaborative project management, collaborative leadership, involving being able to listen to everybody, then you make a decision. So I think collaboration is a very interesting approach to doing things.
Thank you, Alice. We learned about collaborating in very many aspects, how collaboration brings about power, the influence, how we build trust with our teams, how we are able to make decisions, how we are able to resolve conflicts, how we are able to resolve problems, and many of those activities. Anybody else? Just one more person, just a quick recap. Kendi?
Yeah, good morning again.
Good morning.
I was able to learn about the traditional leader versus the collaborative leader. And as a manager now, I can know where I stand and what decisions I can make, not to be the traditional leader, but a collaborative leader.
Yes.
So that I can improve everyone in the organization. Yeah.
Great. I don't know whether in our class, majority of the people found like our workplaces and maybe our leadership style, we were more leaning on the traditional leaders than the collaborative leaders. I don't know how many of your institution could reckon with Crystal Solutions, and we are like Jack Andrews, the CEO of the Crystal Solutions. It was a takeaway. That is something we really learned, and that's very good. So with that, you will allow me to share my presentation so that we can proceed. I'll just pick up from where she left. And when you're able to see it on your end, kindly let me know. Just give me a signal that we can be able to see.
Yes, Molim, we can see it.
You can see it now.
But slideshow is better.
The slide, I put it on slideshow. Good.
Yes.
Great. So we are comfortable, we can see? Kindly confirm you can see that?
Yes.
Great. So we'll pick up on the topic on building influence and how to build influence. And maybe I could just hear from you. What do you understand by the term influence? What is your understanding with the word influence, or how was that topic so relevant to you that you decided to enroll for this symposium? What does building influence mean to you in a layman's language? Alice, give it a go.
I think it's okay. You said we should put the video on. I think it's being able to impact on people by what you do and the way you do things. I think so. Your leadership style, whether you're able to impact or create admiration or resentment. So you do influence positively or negatively. And we all struggle to have positive influence.
Yes, yes, yes. That is very correct, because we realize at times we can create a negative influence on people. We've all had opportunities when we talk to our children to say, please don't hang around with our child, because of probably you think they'll be of bad influence to your child, especially when they come to the teenage years. So building influence is to be able to influence others, or to make other people follow you, so that leadership, we understand that leadership and management is totally different. You couldn't be holding an organizational or hierarchical position, but you're not a leader. Yet you don't have to have a title to become a leader. So we are our own leaders in our own ways. In terms of influence, there are very many ways that we influence. In the churches we go, back at our home, we are parents of kids and we want to have good influence on these people. The people we relate with in the office, what kind of influence do we have? So in terms of our course objective, by the end of today or by lunchtime, we should be able to have learned what is influence. We should be able to clearly explain why we should influence people. Why do we think this subject of influencing people is really important? One of the reasons that we have seen is we need to build collaboration with people, because you cannot build collaboration alone. You'll need to associate with people so that then you can influence them. We'll be able to look at principles of influence. We are going also to learn about the strategies of influencing people, because we want to influence people, but how do we get to do that? We are also going to explain the role of communication in terms of building influence. How do we communicate to each other? How are we able to ensure that the communication we do, it is influencing the other people positively and not negatively? We also go, in terms of communication, we are also going to look at one of the components of communication. It is listening skills, and not just listening, but actively listening, so that you are able to build influence. The other item we'll also look at, through our body and the way we interact, we actually influence people. How people look at us and interpret us. We don't have to speak. People can be able to read the body language. And in terms of even HR and the kind of work we do in our administrative roles, we'll be able to have that emotional intelligence, that even as people are appearing before us, maybe in interviews, how are we able to read the body language? And maybe how does our disposition in terms of the body language speak to the other people that we are addressing? We're also going to look at how to influence people in terms of case studies and also descriptions. We are going to explain how to control the actions of and attitude of others. Does that not sound very interesting? That you can have the power to control the actions and also the attitude of the other people. And to do that, we also look at how does influence relate to us, but knowing ourselves. This is the relationship between how we influence and our self-awareness, because we need to know ourselves. We're also going to explain how to influence different personalities, because one of the factors that influence how we communicate, how we react, and how we are able to influence the other people, it is so much anchored on people's personality. We know we have different personality. We know we have sanguines, melancholic, and all the other personality. We have difficult people. We have hot-tempered people. How do we look at those people, or maybe the bosses who are so demanding because they are very smart? How are we able to look at and understand people's personality and look for strategies of approach of influencing them? And finally, there's something blocking my screen, but you can see it from our course outline. We look at the issues that is relating to explaining the tips. We'll give ourselves what are some of the tips, the quick tips, and maybe the secrets on how we can influence the people. So that will be our coverage today. So we hope to cover this in about 4 hours. And as we progress, I would ask if you want us to take a break, maybe a 5-minute break, a health break, you will let me know. And anybody, we can also continue writing our comments on the chat, and I hope I'll be able to see them as we progress. So in terms of influencing, for you to be an influential leader, that means you have done something so significant or significant enough that you are left in the mind and the memories of the people even after you are gone. You can be so influential that you are in a room and you don't have to utter any word, but your presence can be felt in that room. That maybe even after you leave an institution, someone can say, when Alice was with us, this used to happen. Or maybe your acts and the words remain in that organization. That is what I'll look at it from influence. So on our screen, we can see some 4 influential personalities. Lillian, you're with us. Tell us that maybe the people that you can see, or already I can see the names are there. We have Mahatma Gandhi, Adolf Hitler, Osho, and we have MJ. Let's hear from some of us, starting with Lillian. What have you heard about any of these personalities that we can see? And what kind of influence and what kind of people did they influence? Anybody could pick from anybody of the 4 personality figures that we can see that we believe they have been very influential. We can see the images of the 4 personalities. Can we?
Yes, I can see them. I can see Michael Jackson. I think for him, it was not, I don't think it was a good influence, especially to the young people when it came to the part of, was plastic surgery, or what was it about?
The plastic surgery.
Yeah, so yes. So I think that is what he's really known about. So when anyone talks about Michael Jackson, the very first thing that comes into your mind is the plastic surgery for him to change his physical appearance. Yeah,
that's very good. Very good. I agree with him. This is a man who maybe probably was not comfortable in their skin, and what maybe you remember is the blood. Sorry, I think there was some interruption. Are we there?
Yes, we are here.
Yes.
Oh, sorry. You lost me for a minute, huh?
Yes, we did.
Did you?
Yes.
Okay. Let's see. We are too quiet.
Yes, we lost you.
Yeah, I felt so.
For some minutes, yeah.
Alice, tell me what you can pick from any of those figures, the personality figures that we can see.
The Michael Jackson, on the positive side, was a great musician of his own kind, and his music was very popular in his time. So I think
yes,
he had both positive and negative influence. And of course, we have that.
I can't agree more.
Yeah, the Hitler who was torturing people is a sign of torture and inhumanity and cruelty. That's the picture, that's the influence I associate with Hitler.
That is true. That's very, very true. So let's look at them quickly. Mahatma Gandhi, I didn't hear anybody. I thought that would be the first person I'll hear from people talking about because of his influence, which was so non-violent. Of course, we have had some other people like Mark Jackson. He has some bits of positive in terms of influencing the pop music and also some negatives. About Hitler, we can say he was a fanatic leader who could smile when people were slaughtered and he could see blood flowing in a river. It was very inhumane, yet he was able to influence the entire nation because of the tactics that he used. Osho, this was an Indian popular person who influenced people in terms of the religion. Of course, he had some funny doctrines, but he was able to actually influence a lot of very high influential people, presidents, lawyers, international leaders into his following. So he was able to get a big followership. I'll not add much to what we've talked about MJ. We know his songs. You can even find very little kids who are dancing to his music because he lives on even after he's gone. So that is what we can say about these people. And then we look at what is influence. We have discussed a bit about this. And influence is how you inspire others to take action. Influence, again, it measures what others do for you because you want to influence people so that they can follow you and they can voluntarily do what you want them to do. You can imagine, like in the workplace, when you have a team of people, you want to influence them positively so that when you request them to do something, you don't have to force them. They'll do it out of their free will. So we can see the leader who is in red, who is able to influence all the followers he has. He has about, we can see 12 followers who are able actually to align with his goal and mission, and he's able to do that. Again, as we said, influence is measured based on two metrics. One is the ability to inspire action, the way MJ inspires people to dance, to play to his music, also to likes. Again, in this, the social media and the new technology that we have, the kind of following we see even from our celebrities of what makes our, maybe like the music people, the DJs, to be seen as leaders or the well-off in life or the people who have made it in life, it is because of the peoples they have captured to follow them. We can know the number of followings you have on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Even in institutions, when you have a huge following, you appear to be influential or you're influential. The kind of likes when you post anything, maybe something, maybe inspirational. That's why maybe we have a lot of people who write inspiration materials. The likes they get or the allies that you are able to build to yourself is one of the metrics of influence. The other one is outreach, in terms of how many people are you able to reach out through your various actions. For example, generosity, reward, and interaction. Maybe we could pause at that point, and maybe apart from the 4 personalities that I show, who are other people that you think they have influenced this country?
Rhoda, maybe you could share with us we are not seeing any screen.
Oh, I stopped sharing the screen. Oh, okay.
Yeah, just share with us again.
Let me share again. I think there was some fluctuations from my end. And then when you're able to see it, please just let me know. I've clicked share. Then I go to slideshow. Are we back on the screen?
Yes.
Great. So you were not seeing what I was seeing. Sorry for that, and thank you very much. So in terms of the personalities, we were picking about, apart from the 4 personality figures that we had, the Adolf, the Osho, the Michael Jackson, any other influential figures that you have in the world, in the country, in Africa, or anybody in your workplace or even at your family level who has positively influenced you? let's have some few names and how you think they have influenced and why. Few cases of influence. Margaret, could you give us one? Any public figure?
I would say Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. Great. He's a leader.
Yeah.
We say Nelson Mandela is a leader because he has influence. So how do you think he has influenced this world?
Apartheid.
Please explain a bit more on that apartheid. How did he?
He advocated for elimination of apartheid in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. We actually we saw what happened in South Africa. There was a lot of racism, a lot of discrimination between the white, the blacks, and the colored. We know for how long he stayed in detention, but after he came back, he looked for something to reconcile the whole team. Both the whites, he said he has forgiven all his perpetrators and he's able to live with them. That's Nelson Mandela. I totally agree. Any other example? Let's have volunteers. Nancy, are you back?
I can give an example of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta, who fought for independence of Kenya, the freedom struggle. He led and we got independence, and he had a very strong personality and some very decisive measures. Yeah, he was very decisive.
He was a decision maker. Yeah. Once he has made up his mind, he makes a decision. So great.
Yes,
that's
and
fair
he was
enough.
a disciplinarian. Yeah.
He was a disciplinarian. People could not joke around with him. So I think that's fair enough. We can make progress. So why do we need to influence people? Let's have one person reading for us. Lillian, can you see the screen? You can read us through. Why do we need to influence people? Take us through the points as they are on the screen.
Why influence people? Influencing people can be beneficial to you in several ways, such as it helps to deal with people so that they can feel important and appreciated. Do I read through or first each sentence?
Just read through. Yeah. Or maybe you could read and explain and just break it down for us. What is your understanding of that? That way we'll move faster.
Well, the first one, influencing people can be beneficial to you. It helps to deal with people so that they feel important and appreciated. I think that one is self-explanatory. It helps to handle people without making them feel manipulated. I think that is when people feel that they are not being forced or made to do something that they are not comfortable with. Then the other one, it helps you to make someone want to do what you want them to do. I think this is when you want people to do according to your way, or maybe what is comfortable with you, and maybe it is beneficial to them, as you may feel. It helps in arousing a want to follow you and your instructions in others. Okay, that one is not so clear to me. Maybe I'll read it through again. It helps you to learn how to make people like you. Yeah, when you influence people in a certain way, they may tend to like you or your ways. It can help you to win people over to your way of thinking. These are maybe it's so good to the politicians when you make them when you want to really win the people. I think influence is good to politicians. It helps to change people without causing offense or arousing resentment.
This is when you want to, this is when it comes to changing people and maybe trying to, is it, to change people without causing offense. I think this is when you want people to change their way of doing things, and you do not want to cause any offense as you impose the change, or is it to as you make the change?
Great.
Yeah.
That's very, actually, you can see why we want to influence people and influence them positively is because we want our followers. It is like a shepherd leading a flock of sheep. When those people are following, he wants them to follow because they trust him and they are doing it voluntarily without coercing them. You don't want to leave people feeling that we followed him because he misguided us or he used some funny tactics so that we could. So you know what happens when you make people follow a particular path and eventually they come to regret, they feel very offensive and they might end up even resenting you. So the kind of influence you have, it becomes very temporarily for achieving that goal. But as leaders, we want to be able to influence people in the long haul so that even after you are gone, the influence remains with you. Maybe just to go back to where Lillian was not very sure. Lillian, thank you very much for taking us through. It's the point, it helps us in arousing our want to follow you and your instructions in others. Could someone expand on that? Someone to help Lillian with the explanation of that? What is your understanding on that, especially at the workplace?
I think it's like you make them, you take them through a process through which they own. They own, like they are part of, maybe they were part of building up the change. I don't know, something.
They are part and parcel of the change. So I know you've had, we have circumstances in the workplace or situations where we go in as a group, but then people are divided. One are on this opinion, the others are on a contrary opinion. We want, by the time we influence, and if we come to a consensus as a group, the moment we start following and implementing that, we are all behind it and we are saying we own it. And in case with that kind of influence, if things don't go as, or we have deviations from what we planned, people would still take up the ownership of the success and also the failures to that. So thank you very much. We will make progress. So just like we looked at collaboration with various aspects, like we could look at influence and success, we looked at collaboration and how it influences success. Let's now look at how influence and success are related. Are they related in any way? I'll read that to us and I'll say one of the key traits of a successful person in professional as well as personal front, that's the home front, is one who can influence people. Influencing people helps you to lead the people to your way of thinking, and it helps to prevent unnecessary conflict and also resentment. They are saying there is a very strong linear relationship between success and influence, because you can see that leader in that picture. The moment that you are able to get the followership and people to come into your shared vision and your following, the chances of success is very high. So there is a very strong linear relationship between influence and success. And we can see that statistics, there's been an international scientific study that has proved that you will have 85% success in business if you are able to influence people positively. And also in terms of the personal happiness, there is 99% success because you are reducing the conflicts. There is no antagonism. People are working for you and they are following you and they are supporting you in achieving the goals because they want to. So there's a lot of happiness that comes with that. You can see, like when our politicians are addressing maybe the multitudes in a political rally, there is a lot of excitement in the air. And regardless of how that is tiresome, they go home very happy. But what happens when a politician's called for a meeting and the crowd then turn up? Or even in elections, what happens? What happens? Are we there? Are we there?
Yes.
We are very quiet. What's happening? Just Alice and Lillian. Nancy, are you in the house? Then. Hello?
Hello.
Are we there? Margaret?
Yes, we are here.
We are there.
Yeah.
Yes. Give us your take about that. What is your take about that?
Kindly repeat.
My question is, what happens when a leader calls for a meeting and the people doesn't show up or people doesn't speak? How does it feel? We are looking at this point, the second number 2, that you'll have 99% of personal happiness when you're able to learn how to influence people.
For example, now in my case, having being here where it's more political.
Yes, in your organization, yes.
My boss calls for a meeting, and you don't. That shows he has lost touch on the. He has lost touch on the ground. That means people are not with him. That means he's thinking. If it's in a political period, for example, come next year, if a goes for a meeting and the stadium is half or quarter full, some people will be fired that day.
Yes.
Meaning this politician is losing ground seriously. So they have to go back to the drawing board. Where did we go wrong? Now, where did we go wrong? How do we now bring these people back to us? So it's frustrating, yes.
It's very frustrating. So you can see why it's very important that we learn how to influence people, because everybody want to be successful in what they are doing in their business, and everybody want to be happy when they're interacting with people. So we'll also look at some of the factors that are likely to hinder our quest for influencing people. What are some of these things that we think, maybe even from a personal level, will hinder you from succeeding in terms of influencing people? One of it, we are going to look at ego. What is ego? When you hear of this is someone of bloated ego, he has such a big ego, it is standing on his way. That is why you end up hearing people, when people don't follow or they don't do what you want them, you end up firing them. What is ego? Margaret, read for us. What is ego? The 4 points. You can see the screen, Margaret? Yes.
Yes, I can.
Great.
Understanding the human ego is crucial when you want to run to build influence and handle people. According to Edward Book, what the world calls ego and conceit is really a divine spark planted in man, and that only those who have righted the divine spark within them ever accomplish great things. Every human being is a special individual personality, and the most powerful drive in any person is to defend his human dignity and demand respect. Ego is more powerful than armies and prison camps. Every effort that has been made to deprive individual of this world has failed.
Great. It is very clear that every person ultimately want to defend their dignity and also demand respect. And this is where we see people conflicting, because if one person's ego is very bloated and you want to strip off the other person, the human dignity, it really offends, it may hurt the other people, and they'll not find any reason to follow you. And again, if you see the other person resisting, all what they're doing is demanding the respect for their human dignity. So we can agree every one of us has an ego, and it comes out in different ways. Maybe you are resisting to follow, or you are resisting to follow the rules because you want to. You are demanding your respect, and you feel as a human being, and you have your own dignity. What we are also learning from here is that the ego is that what they are calling the divine spark. It is something that is inherent and is so much in all of us that if you are able to deal with this spark in each and every individual, in terms of dealing with it positively, but by lighting it so that then it can bright and show itself in a positive way, then you got the secret on how to influence people. However, if you crush this divine spark or you're trying to close it, then that is how it goes south. Let's hear any comments on how you're understanding about ego. Anybody? Edith, you're very quiet. Tell us something about ego out of life experience and your understanding about this, or maybe examples of how it has crippled influence or build influence in the workplace. Edith, you can hear us? Is she with us? Lillian, give it a go if Edith cannot hear us.
Your question, please.
I asked, you tell us just about from your life experience, what you can unpack about the issue of the ego. We're still on ego. Tell us just something about it. From the four perspectives we looked at it, how does it hinder or how does it influence?
I don't think I was keen enough.
You are not keen enough. So are we together?
Yeah.
Let me pick any questions at that point. Any questions, comments?
Yes.
So far?
Maybe I can add something.
Yes, please, Alice.
On the subject of ego, there is sometimes big wars arising from miscommunication, where, for example, you have CEOs and board, where you have boards of governors, and the CEO and the chair of the board, there's miscommunication, and somebody feels one is interfering with the other's territory. So ego can be aroused. The ego wars can be aroused if there is poor communication. Maybe one has done what the other one ought to have done, or they imagine you are looking down upon them, which you may not be. So ego, there is a lot of issues which arise about ego wars from miscommunication.
That is especially with those environments which are very political, where we see superiority battles arising from people's ego being injured and feeling maybe the others are looking down at them when they ought to be respecting them. You see, there's also this perception that if you're a person of a higher position, you are a leader, and maybe your followers don't see the leadership. So when you try to coerce and demand that leadership from your followers or the people that you are leading, it is likely to bring those conflicts. I totally agree with that. So we will progress. Then if we go to the next point, we want to have about 4 facts about the human ego. Edith, now you can read for us. What are the facts about the human ego? Take us through the 4 points.
I think she's having a network issue. I know she's in the office. And
oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
It is the multitasking. Maybe probably you could assist her. Read for us, too.
Facts about the human ego. The following are a few important facts about the human ego. Then we start we are all egoists. I think that is, we all have our egos. We are more interested in ourselves than in anything else. That is the selfish bit of the ego. Then every person we meet wants to feel important and to amount to something. No one likes to feel less important. We all want to be to feel and to be approached with the importance that we are. Then there is a craving in everyone for the approval of others, so that she can approve of themselves. Yeah, I think that's all.
Are those statements those statements factual? Do you all agree? Who in this room doesn't have an ego? Who are not egoistic? Anyone? We all have our ego as individuals. So that is a human trait, because we are human beings. The first thing, we always keep ourselves first. It is what is in it for order. We are all more interested on how it affects us than the other person or anything else. The other things will come after. Then every person we meet, they all want to feel important. They want to amount to something. Everybody is aspiring to become something. And when you feel like other people are hindering your progress, that's how conflicts arise. And we all crave everyone's approval, so that then again we can approve ourselves. Is that true? Especially the last one. Alice, tell us something about that everybody craves to be approved by others, for them to feel actually, yes, I can approve myself.
Yes,
the last statement.
I think I agree with that. Because approval by others is very, very important, so that you have the confidence it takes to lead or carry out whatever you are leading them into, especially for leaders. Yeah. So you need to have, okay, it's a craving for approval, but what have you done to win that approval? So the ego is very important, and we need that approval, especially in leadership position. Yeah.
So we agree. Let's look at what makes people feel important. Make people, the first thing we need to do, and the most important aspect in terms of influencing others, it is to make people feel important. If you're able to make people feel important, they are likely to follow you. And we are saying one of the most important aspects of influencing people is, first of all, to make them feel important. It is good to recognize each and every person in their own ways and in their own strength. And we should remember that everyone has a point of view. People have diverse opinions, and there is an ego in them. And the quickest way to improve our dealings with people is to begin by giving importance to other people, their feelings, and also their opinion. Then we look at ways to make other people feel important. How do we, in our own small ways, make other people feel important? Let's look at the 4 ways that we have on the screen. Someone to read for us the 4 ways, and then we'll be able to unpack each and every one of it.
I can read.
Yes, Alice.
The various ways in which you can make a person feel important are as follows. Think other people are important. Notice people. Don't compete with people. When to correct, know when to correct others. So I think it's like, don't underrate people. Give everybody a chance to see what they have to offer. Don't assume people are not important. Notice people. You should recognize the presence of the other people. Don't assume You just go assuming as if they are not there. Say hi to them when you meet them, greet them, and call them by their name. They, you remember them. And then don't compete with people. We are not in competition. Sometimes we just need to complement each other. We should not always be in competition. That doesn't mean you don't remain competitive. Can be competitive, but don't compete with people. You are competitive in your own attributes.
Great.
You want to correct others, so don't humiliate people. For example, correcting somebody in front of their subordinates, and maybe when and how to correct is important. You can be corrected and you feel you are learning something, but you can be corrected and you feel you are belittled. So you avoid, belittling other people, because they are also important. You can correct them in a way which does not belittle them. And they
Great.
still think they are human. Yeah.
I think Alice has summarized for us the whole of those points. As we go through them, think of other people as important. It is exactly as she has said. The first rule is simply to convince our own ourselves once that and for all, that our people are very important. There is nobody who is less important. Even as we walk in any offices and as we socialize with people, everybody, including that janitor, that security who is opening for you the doors, they are very important. When you look at each and every one of them, and that's why you could see in our introductions, these are wives and husbands, these are mothers of people. So they are very important in their own ways, and you never know. These are the first people who will point out something that you may not be even aware of, and they may even end up saving your life or even putting a good word for you. In terms of noticing people, it is always good to remember people by their name. When you're in a meeting, ensure that you acknowledge their presence and you recognize that they are there. This actually boosts people's morale and also gives them maybe the desire to follow you. Don't compete with people. She said very well, we are our own competitors. You can only compete with yourself that you want to become a better of yourself tomorrow. Who you are today, how is it that you'll wake up tomorrow? If this year, this is the much you have achieved, how do you want to become a better person? Because competing with people will not take us anywhere. And this is actually one of the issues that brings a lot of conflicts in the workplace, when people want to outsmart each other and they want to show that the other people are more superior than the others. That is very true. In terms of knowing when to correct the others, don't try to win all the little battles at times. If nothing is involved except maybe the other person's ego, it is good just to rest the matter, leave it at that. Don't sweat the small stuff. How many people have read that book? Don't sweat the small stuff. Anyone who has come across that book? Anyone? That's a book to look for. It's a book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff. At the workplace, in your relationship, at home, it has, I think, various aspects on not how to sweat the stuff, the small stuff. If it's all about people's ego, you can just let them feel that they have won. Don't keep on fighting for it. We continue, and we look at some of the principles of influence. Lillian, please read for us. The following are the key principles of influence people. Go one by one, and maybe just to unpack for us the way you did it before and how Alice has really taken us through. What is your understanding in your own language?
Sorry. The following are the key principles of influencing people. We have commitment and consistency. This is, we have, I don't know how to explain that, but I'll do it the way I understand. I think commitment and people love committed people, and consistency. I think this is when you you show that you're consistent, especially if you need to influence people. They need to see your commitment and consistency. There is reciprocation. This is when you appreciate what comes to you. You give back what you get. This is, you show them love just as much as they show to you. Scarcity. I'm not sure about how scarcity comes in. I think you'll explain that to me. And people love authority. For you to influence people, I think there should be a level of some authority. There's also liking. I think it's both ways. People love to be liked back, or I don't know how that to explain that. Then there's the social proof. Is it to prove people socially? I think those points are not so clear to me. Maybe I could hear your point of view.
Very well done, Lillian. Actually, you've explained, and we'll just clarify the few. Commitment and consistency. People buy something that they know. If you are committed to your work, you keep your word, and you are consistent, the people are likely to be convinced to or attracted to follow you. So we remain committed and we are very consistent in what we do. There is the security and the assurance that you are committed to your goals and you'll go through all the plans. So the people are likely to get influenced by you positively, and they're likely to follow you. In terms of reciprocation, if you give, you are likely to receive more. But if you don't give and you just expect the other people to give it to you, it is very difficult. And this comes like in our personal experience. If you do something good for an individual, there is always that feeling that I really need to pay back. I have to look for an opportunity to support this person, or maybe to extend the goodness of the things that I got from that person. People are able to reciprocate. And so if the leader, the same case in leadership, if the leader is so good to his followers and the team members, or your boss is very good to you, you feel actually compelled to cooperate and also to give him all the support. You'll even find yourself saying, if we have to finish this assignment, you are ready to burn the midnight oil for them, or to extend up to the late hours. In terms of scarcity, this is one of the tactics that has been used by a lot of salespeople and the marketers. Very limited positions left. It is in high demand. This is the last. We have like the people who are selling land, you'll hear very few plots are remaining, rush. So when you create that mentality of it is scarce, it is not available, then you're likely to get a lot of pull on people who want to follow and who want to buy. People want to rush the last minute and pick. Again, as a leader, if you make your influence very mysterious and people have to really try to unpack what is it that is with Lillian, she does her work so effortlessly, then you are able to attract a lot of attention. So again, you don't become, if you are those people that will use a lot of words, you are so much in circulation, you become a commoner, and people are not attracted, and they may not see why they want to follow you. You are just like one of us, so you need to set yourself apart. Authority. It is obvious that when someone is on a higher authority, they're likely to influence more masses than someone who is not in authority. But that does not mean that you have to be in authority and to be in power for you to gain influence. Look at the case for Mother Teresa. Maybe probably the way the NGO and the UN world placed her in a place of authority in terms of generosity also helped her in terms of building her influence. But if you look at even the county government, the governor has more influence than even those people in the grassroots. See, that's the truth. When you talk about the county of Meru, the first thing that comes is the governor. Yet maybe the people in the grassroots are the high influencers. Then the likings. It is very natural that you are likely to follow or to actually positively respond to someone you like. Even in the office, if you have a liking for something or for someone, you're likely to do anything for them. The last one, which is the social proof, it is based on the principle that people love, they are social beings and they love company. And if a leader is able to have many followers, it becomes so natural that even the people on the outside want to gravitate towards that pool, because there is a feeling of a social proof. If everybody is going for this party, even when you come to elections, it looks like there's that belief that there's something good in that party. So people tend to pull together in a pool. That is what it all means. So we'll go through each and in details, just to what I've explained, but on a very high level, then we can move fast. So we say until, in terms of commitment and consistency, until a person is committed, there is hesitance. The chance of drawback is very high, and there is always ineffectiveness. Also, consistency is important because repetition of the same thought or physical action develop into a habit, which repeated frequently enough becomes an automatic reflex. The same thing, if you're trying to learn something new, probably you want to go into training, you want to go into consultants. If you do this through the practice, it becomes almost natural for you to pull. And the moment you start now doing it, you are able to actually pull people towards that, and they start believing in you. So that is commitment and consistent. And this one I'll attribute into our personal lives and personal goal. What is it that has been your childhood dream? What is it that you want to really do, but you never had the courage to step out and do? Probably this is the time, and you say, who will listen to me? Who will buy my goods? Who will even move to that neighborhood? So the moment you step out and do it, you are likely to have a lot of followers, people following you, and that builds your confidence. And when you feel the other people are approving of you, you're likely to do more of that. And reciprocating, it's what we just have. We say it when the requester facts present the other person with an initial favor or an initial concession, the requester will have enlisted a powerful ally in their campaign for compliance. People generally succumb to reciprocity rule and comply with the requester's wish. That if I do something for you, the next time I'm asking for a favor from you, you will definitely give it to me, than when you're dealing with a stranger. Scarcity, I think we have used that, where we tell people there is limited time, it's a rare opportunity, high demand because it's popular. So scarcity frame appeals to both the left and the right side of the brain, and people feel compelled to buy what is scarcity. So it states that most easily persuaded when the resource is actually limited. Have you noted when you don't have something that is the thing that you really want? You've been wanting to buy this dress, you've been wanting to acquire this, but because it is scarce, you really want it the more. How many people go to buy something, and when you're selecting, you go to pick something that is with everybody? See, there is that feel and appeal to something that is unique and scarce. So that is what that point means, Lillian. Then in terms of authority is what I explained, that the people who are in authority plays a really major role in influencing people. And in terms of authority, it could be in terms of how you carry yourself. The authority symbols could even be titled. What if I came and introduced myself? I'm Professor Rhoda Wairioko. I'm Dr. So-and-so. That is why you could see I said I'm CHRP, trying to maybe influence and to persuade people into art. Even the labels of wealth, the kind of clothes you are wearing, the kind of watch you are wearing, the first impression when you look at person actually makes you much believable. Then the issue of liking, it's saying the important principle of influencing people, if that leader comes through respect, and a large part of respect comes from liking someone. This is because each man is led by his own liking. The principle of liking says that people will say yes more often to those people that they like than maybe dealing with strangers. The social proof, which is our last, the social proof says you should remember that men are like sheep. Are we like sheep? Are we? Alice, do you agree we are like sheep?
I didn't
We are not
think,
like sheep.
I didn't think we are like sheep. I don't know. I need to
Hell,
understand that
let's see.
context.
Let's see, especially when we come to politics, we find how people are like sheep, of which a flock is more easily driven than a single one. The sixth principle of influence, social proof, states that people look to others and follow what they are doing. Hence, in order to influence people, it is better for a leader to create an impression and influence a mass of people to follow you, which leads to the other people to follow you automatically. That's basically what our politicians do to us. Is it? Whether we believe in their principles or not, where the masses are, we tend to gravitate and move towards that. Of course, I agree the word sheep is a bit harsh, but that's what happens. So we move to various, I said we are going to explore the various strategies that we have so that we are able to influence people. And this one, all of us will have to read because there are quite several. I think there are about 20. So we'll start from the first. You'll do every slide. If you pick a slide, just do and expound because the notes are there, and tell us, maybe you just break it away in a few words. So let's start with you, Alice, before we lose you. Read for us the 5 strategies on the first slide.
Okay, the first one is it when the one in blue?
Yes, that is the first.
When you're trying to impress people with words, the more you say, the more common you appear, and the less in control. Say less than necessary. I think this means that if you are talking too much, you are more likely to reveal your weaknesses than when you are strategic. You select and you guard your integrity. You don't want to be commonplace. Don't go and mix with them everywhere. Appear only when necessary. And also, Africa, to give some concrete information, not every little one. Like you said, avoid the little, you called them what? The little was?
The little chats.
Little chats, yeah. I think that's how I understand it. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
The second one?
Oh, the second one. Okay.
You are reading the whole slide.
The whole slide. Okay.
Yes.
Reputation is the cornerstone of influence. And through reputation, you can intimidate and win. So we need to guard our reputation, not do things which bring you into disrepute with your organization or the people you lead. You avoid the, bad behavior in their presence. Like if you have those staff parties, don't get drunk and they have to carry you home, something like that. And I'm just thinking of what could bring this repute to a very good leader. Yeah. So guard your reputation. Always capture attention, stand out and be conspicuous at all costs. Make yourself a magnet of attraction by appearing larger and more colorful and more mysterious. I don't know how to do that, but I imagine with effort one can do that. Not be commonplace, be conspicuous, always outstanding. I don't know if it has to do with the grooming and maybe your etiquette, the way you communicate. And don't disclose all your little details of your personal life, so you remain a bit mysterious. People wonder what else. Yeah, don't expose everything. Make other people come to you. When you make other people, the other person to come to you, you are the one in control. Yeah. So that might be a strategy. I don't know how to use it, but if other people have to look for you, you don't have to go and push it down their throats what you want. Just do things which make them want to come and consult you on certain matters. They feel they can get it from you. I imagine that is what it is. Win through actions and not argument. It is much more influential to get others to agree with you through your actions without saying a word. Demonstrate, do not explicate. I think this means, you know, words speak loud, actions speak louder than words. Some people say if you have to explain very hard what you have achieved or what you are, it means you have achieved nothing. People should see it. It should come out clear without you having to struggle to explain it. I think I can stop there. You help me to elaborate further. Thank you.
You have done fantastic. You have done fantastic job, Alice. And actually it says the same. Say less than necessary. Don't over-explain yourself. When you over-explain yourself and you want to use a lot of words, you become a more commoner. Nobody wants to look like a more commoner because you want to attract people and pull people to your end. Guard your reputation. She gave very good work examples. When you have those team buildings and what have you, why are you going to misbehave? What will people read about you? Ensure that you guard your reputation and your integrity at all the costs. Let people remember you for your integrity, your professionalism, and how you carried yourself. Always capture attention, especially for the young people. Anytime you walk into a room, what is the first impression? They say the first impression doesn't lie. The kind of the body posture, I think we are going to look at the body postures later on in this topic. The way you appear, the way you present yourself, the way you dress yourself. Are you dressed in a formal attire, in a suit that is catchy, but not attracting a lot of attention? At times you're told, as you enter a room with a lot of people, or maybe when people are sitting in a boardroom and they're waiting for you to walk in, you need to walk with confidence. Probably start at the door and pause. And then when they turn, then you walk in and you stand. Before you take your seat, stand and then sit. You have captured their first attention. And actually you have elicited a lot of interest that they want to really hear. What is this package all about? Even when you carry your papers, how do you carry them? How do you arrange them? That if someone was to ask for your folders, then all the papers are dropping down. That is not what we want to look. In terms of maybe the hairdo, of course, there are those dressing etiquettes we normally have in the official dress code. Ensure you fall so that you are not flamboyant. Then make other people come to you. If actually you have that confidence and you have your space, of course, we always say we should have an open door policy. But imagine if every Tom, Dick, and Harry and everybody walks into your office and do whatever they want to do. A cleaner want to walk in and come and sit and chat and take their tea. When he leaves, another one comes with a banana and put on your seat. You need to make your workspace that people, when they come, they feel they are. And when they walk into your office, give them their attention. Probably stop doing what you're there and give them maybe their attention. And then, as she said, actions speak louder than any argument. You don't have to over-explain yourself. If you have the facts and the figures and the references, you don't have to argue because you know your staff. Let's have Edith, are you back? We had lost you at some point.
Yes, I'm back.
Kindly take us through the slides. We are looking at the strategies of influencing people. You just do like Alice did, read for us, probably from bottom, keep the people, and then you explain and unpack, and then you can point out maybe the areas that we may need to discuss further.
Okay. So keep people dependent on you. To maintain your influence, you must always be needed and wanted. The more you are relied on, the more influence you have. So I explain or I read everything and then I explain?
Just read and explain in short, yeah.
Okay. So the other one is, so keep people dependent on you. So I think it's straightforward. You have to always create an atmosphere where people cannot survive, if I can use that word. They need you in all that they do. So make them dependent. Look at the things that you offer that maybe no one else is offering that makes them depend on you. The other one, appeal to people's self-interest. Influence people by showing them what lies in it for their benefits and emphasize it out of proportion. So you need to show people what benefits they will receive just as the politicians do it. They show you this and this are the benefits that I will give you, this and this is what you will benefit from me. So that needs to come out clearly. People need to see that this is what they will get. Then use scarcity. The more you are seen and heard from, the more common you appear. You must learn when to live, create value through scarcity. So I think just as what you have explained, you need to create a scenario where people see that they cannot, you are like scarce, like what you're giving them or the value that they are getting from you is scarce. They can't get it from somewhere else. So that will make them want to follow you or, follow your ways. And then never isolate yourself. Isolating yourself cuts you off from the valuable information and makes you conspicuous and an easy target. Circulate among people and find allies and mingle. So this of course, if you want to influence people, you can't be alone. You have to be among people. You have to be a people's person. You have to be somebody that is free, mingles with people, has people who will always back them. So in a group of people, you have your allies who will always stand for you. And then the last one, never offend anyone. Everyone will not react to your strategies in the same way. Never offend or deceive anyone. Yeah, so this is also another way. So not everybody will like your strategies. Not everybody will like your ideas. But just because somebody said they do not like your idea, that doesn't mean that you have to, offend them in the way you give feedback. I think you need to accept that people are different, and you just need to find a level that you will be able to satisfy majority of the people.
Great,
yeah.
Very well said and explained. I think it's
done,
exactly as what she has explained. So thank you very much, Edith. Let's go to Margaret. Margaret, next. You can take us through this strategy. I think we have enough for everyone. Margaret, are you with us? Margaret, kindly unmute. Margaret, kindly unmute. We seem not to have her. Nancy? Nancy, are you back? Nancy Okita, is she back? Candy, take us through.
Well, the first one is use the surrender tactic. That is when you are weakened. Never fight for honor's sake. Choose surrender instead. Not every battle is worth fighting for. Choose what you are winning, because you might end up embarrassing yourself maybe before your juniors or even before your boss. So choose your battles right. Concentrate your forces. That is, conserve your forces and energies by keeping them concentrated at their strongest point. We all know our strong points and weak points. We know our strengths and weaknesses. So concentrate on what you're good at. What you're good at, maybe this could also go to delegation. Maybe you explain that later. Delegating what you're not good at. The third one is recreate yourself. Recreate yourself by forging a new identity, one that commands attention and never bores the audience. Be the master of your own game. Don't be boring. Don't be a boring boss. Don't be usual. Like the first one, be mysterious. Always come up with new ideas. Let's not, when you stand, everyone knows your first point. For example, when you're training. When you enter in a meeting, they are like, anakuja tu na ile story yake. So just be creative. This is achievable by going to school, upgrading yourself. We say, even as we invest in houses and other things, invest in your knowledge so that every time you go, it's a digital world. we are having new generation coming, people who know more than you. So don't be boring. Give relevant examples. Don't come in Mary and start giving us examples of ice. We've not seen ice. So be relevant. Use people's need to believe. People have an overwhelming desire to believe. Become the focal point of such desire by offering them a cause, a new faith to follow. You explain that one. Keep your hands clean. You must seem an ideal role model of civility and efficiency. Of course, you must have a moral, for example, to correct someone. But if you're the person who comes in the office at 10, when your juniors come late, you won't have a moral authority to correct them. So be that example. If you want them to be officially dressed, how are you dressing? If, for example, you're the facilitator of this meeting, you want us to be locked at 8:30, and we're logging out at 9. So me, I lead by example. Be an example that can be followed by others.
Great.
So that at least people can reference you. But if you're always the first person to mess around, that means you are not influential. No one will follow what you're doing. Now, maybe you can explain now, use people's name to live.
Great. That is very good, Candy. And she has given us very real and practical examples in the workplaces and where we live. So maybe just to pick on where she left on concentrate your forces, your explanation was very correct. Again, in terms of delegation, as she mentioned, what is it? We are not jack of all trades. We are not master of all. We don't know it all. We should be able to recognize what is it that you're so good at doing that when you touch it, you have a magic touch. Ensure that you ride on that as your strongest point. Use it. Concentrate your forces. If actually you have a lot of battles, again, you have to prioritize. What is it that I must do? What is of higher impact and more value to the team than trying to do everything? That is what it means. You need to know what to concentrate on in terms of the impact and also the priority and the impact it will have on the purpose and the goal that you want to achieve. Then on the other one of you, use people's need to believe. For you to lead any team or to have any followers, what is it that you believe in? You must have a vision. You must have a higher purpose, and you must be able to convince people that this is the way to go. And for you to convince people, for them to follow, they must buy in. They must believe in it and must have faith that whatever you are going to do, it is going to lead them in a better place. That is why we say leaders need to be visionary. They need to have a compelling purpose why you want people to lead. Do you want to lead people so that you just have good company? There must be a purpose for them. You must be able to demonstrate to them what is it and how will they benefit from following you as their leader. Great. Let's go to Lillian. Lillian, take us through the other strategies, the 5.
Enter action with boldness. Enter any action with boldness. Everyone admire the bold. No one known as the timid. Here, I think for you to influence people, you need to be so bold. You need to stand out as a bold person without fear. Number 2, plan till the end. By planning to the end, you will not be overwhelmed by circumstances and you will know when to stop. I think planning is key in everything. So for you to influence people, you need to be well planned in everything from the start to the end. That way, people will get influenced by you. Number 3, make your accomplishments seem effortless. Your actions must seem natural and executed with ease. Here, you need to, for you to influence people, they need to see your actions. They don't have to dig deeper, but your accomplishments should be seen with ease. Number 4, control the options. Give people options that come out in your favor. Whichever one they choose, once you give people options for you to influence them, then they need to be in your favor. Number 5, play to people's fantasies. Never appeal to truth and reality, but tap into the fantasies of the masses. That one will explain to us. Thanks.
Great, Lillian. That was very good. Very well explained with cases. Then I'll pick on the last 2. Control the options. When you want to influence people, we said you must have a purpose and a higher purpose and a vision. What is it that I want to achieve by the end of this? But for you to show people that you are involving them, you are taking their contributions, you need to give them various options so that they make choices. But the way you arrange your options, they must be that in such a way, the option, whatever they pick, option 1, 2, 3, it will ultimately still align to your purpose. So as you give people options, control the options so that the end product, they may appear differently and they may have different wordings and different routes, but they must take you to the destination that you want to take. Play to people's fantasies. This one will relate to leaders, charismatic leaders, the political leaders. You always hear that leaders are very shrewd. They are very shrewd because sometimes people don't want to hear the truth. And maybe the truth might be so cutting. So you might go out and you just want to tell the truth and the facts. And the reality is there is the people, what they want. What does the masses want? Is it the laptops? Do they want to hear that the cost of unga has gone down? What are their fantasies? And that's why you need to have your roots on the ground so that you know what are the people's desire, that if I'm able to touch this spot, people are likely to come to you. So you have to know the people's needs and the fantasies so that you appease them and try to navigate the truth, because we don't want to be the people who try to lie or to be seen as people of integrity. So we have to look for a way of navigating that. I think that's very clear. And we have 2 more slides. Margaret, take us through the second last, I believe. Strategies. There are very many strategies. This is like a whole summary. This is like a whole summary of the 48 laws of power. You've read that book. So you can still go look for that book and you'll see how the summary is coming up. So let's go, Margaret. Margaret, are you back? Margaret, are you back? We seem not to have her. So someone to volunteer.
Hello.
Yes, Margaret.
Hello.
Yes, Margaret. Nancy, is Nancy in the house? Nancy, is Nancy in the house? With that, then I'll allow me to. So the point is, discover each man's weakness. We are saying everyone has a weakness and you can turn this weakness into your advantage. So you have to look at the soft spot of someone, what their areas of weakness, and you capitalize on them using your strongest strengths that you have. Then create your image through attire, the way you dress, the way you actually come out. You are able to influence the other people. Then master the art of timing, so that you have to do it at the right time and not hurriedly. So you need to be able to prepare very early, so that you are in control of yourself and also of time. Time should not control you. You should be able to control the time. Then merge with others. This is where we are saying we should not be isolating yourself. You should influence people by blending with them and nurturing the common touch of the people, because influence has to be built through association. Then you also need to stay calm. We realize that anger and emotion and overreactions are strategically counterproductive in anything that we are trying to really achieve. So we need to remain calm and objective. And finally, we need to strike the leader, and the herd will follow. What means if you are able to, the same thing we had talked about the social proof, if you are able to harness and control the leader, the group or the followers will not have an option but to follow what the group is doing, and that will be automatic. Then the fourth last is work on hearts and the minds of people. We are saying we must seduce others into wanting to move into your direction by operating on their individual psychologies and also the weaknesses, and never appear to be perfect. We say nobody is a master and nobody is perfect. We always endeavor to be a better version of ourselves and to do improvements. So when you try or you are working so hard to be a perfectionist, it is likely to come up in a negative way, because you think you know it all. You are proof to any error, and you can even also attract a lot of envy from the other people, because you'll appear more than human. So you need to come and just be at the people's level, show them that you don't know everything. You are still learning and you still have a lot to learn from them. And then you use the mirror effect, which can influence people by using the mirror effect. The mirror effect means you have to play in people's psychology. Like you try to put yourself in their shoes, and you use the illusion of what you share in the values. You see, like when we are doing the introduction, when everybody is saying, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, an employee, I'm in the county government, you're trying to build a social circle, and we have seen we all have a common thread, that we are all coming from the same level, and we have something in common. Actually, if I was to call Alice or Lillian and we have a chat of the phone, you will realize that there is something that we have common. Probably you went to the same school, you may have come from the same village, you know a common person, you have stayed with someone for 3 years, and then you come and realize, Kuma, we know this common person. And that actually makes people be influenced towards you. Then you reform slowly. We believe and we know that people are creatures of habit. It is not easy to change the habits of people, because they have built them over many, many years, and we have to make very baby steps. They make it very gentle and small improvement, and eventually people will follow. So again, we'll go to the last topic of this morning, which is touching on communication. And communication is how we communicate to each other. How we present ourselves determines how we are able to influence. So you'll see a very strong, powerful correlation between communication and how we influence people. We've always heard people say, it is not what you say, it is how you say it and how you deliver the message, how the message is packed, how it's communicated, and how it's delivered. So we are going to look at effective communication, and there are many aspects of it that we'll look. We will look at, as I said, about listening, active listening. We'll ask the way you do the question and you gather information from people so that you are able to influence them. Is that okay? Maybe let me pause there and say, do we have any comments so far before we enter into communication? Any clarifications? Any question from anyone? Comments? And we also agree at what time we want to take our break. I don't know, how long did you take your break yesterday? Did you have a whole 30 minutes?
Yesterday, there were several hiccups on the internet. So
Yes.
maybe you can take the break now.
Sorry?
You can take the break now.
We can take the break now. We are we started 30 minutes late. We started at 9, not at 8:30. So I had thought we could stop at 11. Okay. Break maybe for 15 minutes and then we come back.
That's okay.
Do the other people agree with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. That's fine. So that's okay. Any questions so far? So we agree we'll break at 10 for 15 minutes, then we come back and do the rest of the program. Any question on what we have covered? Clarification? How is it so far? Just a random comment. We really love to hear feedback so that we know the areas to improve and what to do more or what to do less of it. Guys, I would love to hear from you. Let me hear some comments. Or are we good to proceed?
Yes.
Great. So with that confirmation, I believe Edith is talking for all of us. And let's continue. So in terms of effective communication, we are saying it's very important so that we influence people because of the following reasons, which I'll read, then you'll take us through the other slides. It is about how information is sent and received between the people. It is crucial for working successfully with others. It enables maintained relationships. It allows to accomplish tasks while working with both individuals and also group. And effective communication motivates. It helps to overcome any obstacles and conflicts that may arise. And effective communication creates a comfortable, trustful, and psychologically safe feeling. Maybe someone can give us an example of a broken communication in an organization where a communication has got, probably you've had a town hall meeting with the CEO and the CEO has made an announcement which is not clear, probably complete, and someone had missed a meeting, and then it is taken back to the people, then it's taken the wrong way. Let's have one example of maybe an instance where you used to work, a friend of yours has shared a story of what happened. Let's just hear a practical example of where communication didn't work well or information was distorted. Please. Just to confirm, is Nancy back? Nancy, are you back to the webinar? So she's logged in, but she's not in the meeting. So let's hear from Alice, Edith, Candy, Lillian, and Margaret. Those are the people in the meeting. Just a practical example. Any one of us? Before I pick, I'll pick one of you. Anyone to give it a trial? Margaret, I pick on you. I want to know whether people are in the webinar or they have logged out. Margaret?
I'm still trying to think of one.
You're still trying to think of one.
Yes.
Alice, do you have any?
I'm not sure I have current examples. Just thinking of a situation where it is a motive, because usually it involves information which has been communicated because the other person did not understand what was required or what their role was. There's lots of conflict I've observed between CEOs, and I've been serving in boards the last few years. And usually it is an issue of lack of clarity of roles. Okay, they have not been trained on the differences in their roles. So you find that somebody is doing something and the other feels, or you are not the one who is supposed to communicate to these people. Those are my people. I'm the one to deal with them. The people are reprimanded. You should not deal with the chair directly. You should always go through me. And you see, maybe the chair needs information and they can't get it, and the CEO is not giving it. So issues of the information sent or received or the lack of it can cause a lot of negative influence, can cause conflict. So I don't know if I'm relevant, but
you are very relevant, and we are looking for such kind of examples, because the next thing we want to look at the core, what we are calling the 7 C's of effective, what actually makes a communication to be effective at the end of the days. So we've heard about, who has heard about the 7 C's of communication and can tell us maybe what they involve? The 7 C's of effective communication. Anyone who has heard about them and probably could try to jog their mind and remember what could they be? The 7 C's of effective communication. Anyone before we go through them so that it's easier and fast for us to cover? The 7 C's of effective communication. Great, let's go ahead. I'll present to us, then we will just follow. The 7 C's of effective communication. They are as follow. So we have guidelines for effective communication. How do you ensure that the communication we have is it's actually effective? So we have the 7 C's, and the first one stands for clarity. Then we have completeness. The third C is on conciseness of the communication. The fourth one is consideration, which is your altitude. Then we have correctness and the accuracy of the communication or the message that you're sending. We have the concreteness. And finally, we have courtesy. What is our understanding about clarity, completeness? Or anybody can pick any of that and explain your understanding about when you say the concreteness of effective communication. This is what we mean. Just pick any random and you're understanding what comes to mind. It doesn't have, there's no answer that is correct or wrong. It is how you understand it. Then we'll unpack it.
Maybe I can start.
Yes, Kendi.
Yeah. For clarity, don't be ambiguous. Be clear to their own. Then completeness, complete, for example, the sentence. Don't leave people hanging. I don't know whether that's the right term. Don't leave people hanging when you're giving, for example, information. Consideration. The attitude. Consider the people you're talking to. For example, if I have someone who is coming to seek maybe for the benefit of a wife who is a colleague we passed on, you consider it on the language you use to this person. Else you the emotions. So be considerate. Then correctness, of course, these cannot be overemphasized. Your information or your communication as correct as possible, because you might be point of reference. And it will be saying it is, can you this information? And then it calls for everyone to be courteous. Yeah, someone else can explain first.
Anybody who want to give it a try? Very, very good, Kendi. I think you are straight to the point. You have hit on the nail's head. Any other?
Okay, I can talk about concreteness. That means that you should be specific. Be specific in what you are talking about. Don't be too general. Then courtesy means that you should respect. Maybe it's the audience that you are speaking to. You should respect them.
Great.
Yeah.
That sums it off. The conciseness is you need to be specific and concise. Don't be so wordy. Use the choice of words should be very consistent and should communicate to the point and must have complete. When you look at the concreteness, it must be based on data graphs and the evidence and the facts. It should not be just talking in generality. So let's look at barriers of effective communication. Of course, everybody aspires to have the 7 C's, to speak with clarity, with completeness, with conciseness, with consideration, that is showing empathy and consideration of the other people, correctness, it must be accurate, concrete, and also courtesy. However, vitu kwa grounds, they are different. What are some of the barriers that normally hinder us from achieving effective communication? And we have four major, they're actually several, they're about 7 barriers that we look for. The first one is inaccurate interpretation, that when a message has been delivered or maybe sent through a memo, the person who is conveying the message may actually interpret it inaccurately, or ignoring or misunderstanding the nonverbal signs of implicit messages. Again, when you're looking at body language and the body cues, I may be signaling at you, but the way you interpret is totally different. For example, when you look at like the Asian community and as the African community, when an Asian person is agreeing to your point, how do they do? How do they shake their head? Anybody who has noted, if you have interacted with them? For an Indian, when they shake their head like this, as you're talking to them, it means they're in total concurrence. They're in agreement. It's yes, yes. But if Rhoda does to you this, what do I show you? I'm in doubt of what you're saying, or I might be interpreting you are saying no. So that misinterpretation can cause interpretation barriers. Then the other one is selection perception, where we are saying we select only the certain elements of the message that we want to hear. That I can say a whole sentence that you'll only pick what your expectation is and what you want to hear. So that selective perception actually distorts effective communication. Then linguistic impact on languages, that is the style, the tone, the speed of how we speak, could act as barriers to our communication. Issues of semantics, the jargons that people use, the different perception of the meaning of the word could cause some barriers. Then the physical barriers, someone could be so tired. The hearing, maybe probably when the internet was not working properly. So we have those barriers of communication in terms of hearing. Sight could also affect the speech problems, the environments, probably even the people who are in this forum. You can see we are trying to call up some participants, but we can't get them. Grammatical and spelling and punctuation and sentence structures could be also something that is different. If you look at a sentence, the way it has been structured, you may just leave a comma and it gives a totally different impression or meaning. Emotional and psychological status. You can imagine for someone who is grieving or who is so emotional, or an employee who has come to the workplace, but their mind is not there because they left a lot of chaos at home. The communication, they were likely to have communication breakdown because their mind is not there. They are conflicted. They have issues at home. And that is why as HR, we should try to really understand people as be as empathetic as possible. The gender role. One of the key things that I've noticed in this meeting, that apart from the founder, who is Dance, we are all women in this. Probably even the workplace that we have. There are some people who believe they cannot be led by women. There are some communities who believe the place of women is the kitchen and bringing up the kids. that they have no voice, they cannot give their opinion, they have no say. And we have seen in workplaces where probably the boss is a lady, the men in that office tending to disrespect because of maybe the community they come from, or they attach no value to those women. Those are some of the things that are barriers to an effective communication. The other issue would be the culture. What is our background, the cultural differences, the use of jargon? Maybe like you see the lawyers, they use big words and they are verbose. So it locks a lot of these other people, the laymen, out of their understanding that communication, that if you have to go to court, you have to come up with an interpreter or a legal advisor. So those are some of the barriers that we have. How do you overcome these barriers of communication? We have about 8 strategies, which I'll go through very quickly. The first one is to eliminate the perception, which if you want equity, you should come with clean hands. By the time you go to a communication or a discussion, we should also be able to come with an open mind, and we'll eliminate any perception that we may have. The other one is use of sign languages or written communication, so that we are able to break any physical or disability barriers that may come by asking valid questions. Of course, we'll drill down into the kind of valid questions we can ask and the types of questioning that we have. And then we must be mature in our communication. I think I've covered that. The first slide, I think I jumped, which was by speaking louder, if actually volume is the problem, or maybe the hearing is the challenge, or maybe eliminating any background noise, by asking for clarification instead of assuming. So if there is communication that have been sent and there are some vagueness, it is always advisable to ask for clarity. And that's why we keep on stopping, so that we seek people's understanding and clarity. Listening actively, something that we really dwell much on after the break, and also thinking rationally, so that you're objective, you are thinking. So from there, we are going to come back, and I can see it's already 11. It's 11:02 by my clock. So we can agree to take a 15 minutes break. Then we come back at what time? 11 is 11:15 fair enough? Or 11:20? I know we want to grab a cup of tea or something like that.
11:20.
11:20 on the dot. And I'm kindly appealing to all of you, let's be seated again at 11:20 so that we can continue and we don't take so much into our lunchtime. We still have a lot of grounds to cover, but we'll try to be a bit faster. All right? So thank you very much. Let's come back at 11:20.